The war started without warning. Captain Elias Morgan had just finished repairing his ship's external hull when the first beam of plasma fire hit the sky above him. He looked up, confused, as explosions rippled across the horizon of the alien world of Zephyr 9. The peace treaty had been signed just a month ago. But now everything was burning. Zephyr 9 was supposed to be a quiet place, home to the Lurian race, tall, elegant beings with glowing eyes and a strong connection to crystals and energy. They had never openly attacked humans. But today, the Lurian palace was under siege. Not from humans, but from other alien forces. Elias jumped back into his ship and tried to contact command. No signal, just static. He cursed under his breath. Then came a surprise transmission, not from Earth, but from a Lurian channel, open and unencrypted. If any human soldier is listening, the palace is falling. This is Queen Ialira. We are betrayed. We need help, please. Her voice broke as another explosion cut the feed. Elias paused. He had orders to avoid involvement in internal alien conflicts. But something about her voice, the desperation, the sincerity, moved him. She wasn't just a queen. She sounded like someone trying to protect her people. Without thinking twice, Elias engaged his ship's thrusters and set course straight for the capital. As he flew over the city, he saw the devastation. Lurian towers were collapsing. The outer palace wall had been breached. Smoke rose like shadows against the planet's twin suns. And in the center, surrounded by energy shields, stood the crumbling palace, still resisting. Elias landed hard near the royal courtyard. The air smelled of burning crystal and ozone. He drew his sidearm, unsure if he was welcomed or not. To his surprise, 2 Lurian guards, bleeding and wounded, bowed their heads. "You answered," one of them said. She said a human would come. They led him through broken hallways, past fallen statues, and through doors that sparked with fading energy fields. When they reached the throne room, Elias stopped cold. She stood in front of him, Queen Ialira, tall, glowing, wrapped in golden armor that shimmered like the stars. Her hair was silver white, braided with gemstones. Her eyes blue like frozen fire locked onto his. "You came," she said, her voice low. "I felt you would." Elias cleared his throat. "What happened here? A faction of my own council betrayed me. They wanted to sell our planet's crystal cores to the Dominion. I refused. They sent mercenaries to kill me and take the throne. You sent a call. Anyone could have heard it." She walked closer, looking into his eyes. "But I knew only a human would answer. You see, long ago, one saved my life as a child. I never forgot." Elias blinked, caught off guard. This wasn't just a political mess. It was personal. She reached out and touched his hand. "Will you help me save what's left?" "I'll try." Together, they fought their way to the crystal chamber, where the power source of the palace was being attacked. Elias, using his knowledge of human tech, rerouted the energy shields. The mercenaries were pushed back. The chamber was sealed again. As the dust settled, Queen Ialira looked around. "You saved more than just my life today," Elias nodded. "You should get your people to safety." "I will, but first, I need to show you something." She led him to a hidden wing of the palace. The doors opened to reveal a second woman similar to Ialira, but younger, softer in appearance. Her eyes were just as powerful, and her beauty no less radiant. "My sister," the queen said. "Princess Nalea. She has watched all you've done. She too believes in you." Elias raised a brow. "Why are you showing me this?" Ialira smiled. Gently, "Because in our culture, when a queen is saved, a bond must be offered, but I've waited so long. I knew the one who saved me as a child would return, and now he has. I would offer you my hand." Elias felt his breath catch. But I ask one more thing," she continued. "Not just me, human. Marry my sister as well." Elias turned toward Nalea. She stepped forward, calm and graceful. "Together," she said softly, "we can rebuild this world with you." And in that moment, Elias wasn't a soldier anymore. He was a man standing between two alien queens, both offering him their trust, their power, and something he never expected: belonging. He didn't know what to say, but he knew this war had changed everything. Elias didn't speak for a long moment. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the crystal-powered palace. Queen Ialira stood tall beside her sister, Princess Nalea, both watching him closely. He had expected to help in a fight, maybe patch a power grid or defend a hallway. But this was something else. "You want me to marry both of you?" Elias finally asked carefully. Ialira's expression didn't waver. "Yes, in our culture, shared rule brings balance. I trust my sister more than anyone. She has always been by my side. And now we both believe in you." Nalea stepped closer. She looked younger than her sister but carried a calm strength. "I know this sounds strange to humans, but our bond is not only royal, it is spiritual. When someone saves our world, they become part of it truly." Elias looked between them, still trying to breathe normally. His hands were dusty from battle, his shirt torn at the sleeve. He was a soldier, not a king. "I'm not anything special," he said quietly. "Just a pilot, a mechanic. I didn't come here expecting this." "But you did come," Ialira said softly, "when no one else would. That alone means more to us than you understand." Suddenly, a distant boom echoed through the palace. Ialira turned sharply. "They're not finished." A Lurian guard rushed in, blood on his face. "Your Majesties," the enemy regrouped. "They're heading for the archives. They want the royal crystal map." "Then we can't rest yet," Ialira said. Elias shook his head, finding focus again. "Show me the way." The royal archives were deep underground, protected by layered defenses and sealed doors. But the traitors had stolen access codes. As Elias, Ialira, and Nalea reached the final stairwell, they could hear energy weapons discharging below. Elias drew his sidearm again. "Stay behind me." Ialira touched his shoulder. "We fight together now." The stairwell exploded into action. Elias fired 2 quick shots, taking down the first of the invaders. Ialira summoned a spear of crystal energy from the floor itself and struck with precision. Nalea wasn't just graceful, she was deadly, using a thin, curved blade that moved like lightning. By the time they reached the archive chamber, only a few enemies remained. One of them, clearly a leader, shouted, "You can't stop us. The Dominion has already offered 10 systems for your crystals." Elias stepped forward. "Then go beg them to save you." One shot ended the standoff. After the battle, the crystal map was returned safely to its vault. The sisters stood before the massive archive wall, its glowing lines running like rivers across the stone. "This map shows every energy vein on our planet," Nalea said. "If the Dominion had stolen it, they could have drained our core in months." Elias felt the weight of it all. So this was never just a coup. It was a sale. "Your own people sold you out." Ialira nodded. "For power, for money, for false promises." He leaned against the cool stone wall. "I came here to fix a broken ship, not to fight a war, not to choose between 2 queens." Ialira looked at him gently. "You don't have to choose." "I know," Elias replied. "That's what scares me." Nalea stepped forward, more serious now. "You think this is only about marriage, Elias, but it's more. Our people need someone different. Someone not from our history. Someone new. You can give us unity, hope." Elias looked into her eyes and saw no games, no tricks. Just truth. He wasn't being asked to rule a throne. He was being asked to heal a kingdom. Later that night, the palace was quiet again. The fires had been put out. The injured were being cared for. The traitors were either imprisoned or dead. Elias stood on a balcony overlooking the crystal fields beyond the capital. They sparkled under the twin moon's soft blue and silver lights. Glowing across the mountains, Ailira joined him, her armor now replaced with a flowing white gown. She looked peaceful for the first time. "I never asked your name when you saved me as a child," she said softly. "You just helped me and disappeared." "I was just passing through," Elias replied. "I've waited many years for you." To pass through again, he turned to face her. "This isn't something I can decide in a day." "I know," she said. "But we won't pressure you. You're free to choose." As she turned to go, Nalia appeared quietly from the other side, her gaze calm but unreadable. "Take your time, Elias," Nalia said. "But know this, our world already sees you as one of us." He stood alone as they both walked away, the wind brushing through his dusty uniform. He had saved their lives. And now, they had offered him theirs. But was he ready to accept a destiny he never saw coming? Elias didn't sleep. The palace was quiet. But his mind wasn't. Too many thoughts swirled inside him. The battle, the offer, the sisters. Queen Ailira had power in her voice and leadership in her soul. Princess Nalea had calm in her presence. And something else, a mystery Elias couldn't name. He stood in the crystal gardens near dawn, hands in his pockets, watching the glowing flowers rise as the twin suns began to stretch across the sky. Zephyr 9 wasn't like Earth. Nothing about it was. Yet strangely, it already felt familiar. A soft voice broke his silence. "You're still awake." Elias turned. Nalia was standing nearby in a flowing blue robe, the edges glowing faintly like the crystals around them. "I couldn't sleep either," he admitted. She walked closer. "Ailira told me not to push you, but I wanted to speak to you without all the royal words." Elias raised an eyebrow. "No palace politics, no crown, no pressure. Just me," she said with a small smile. They walked side by side through the garden paths. Nalea gently touched one of the glowing plants. It responded, blooming wider. "These flowers open only for those with peace in their hearts," she explained. "They did not bloom for many of the council members. But they bloomed for you," Elias said. She looked at him with a quiet intensity. "And they bloomed for you, Elias." He didn't know what to say. Everything about this world, its energy, its rules felt deeper than what he was used to. "You and your sister are powerful," he finally said. "Why not rule together without me?" "Because even power can break," she replied. "Especially when it's isolated. Our people are afraid. You bring something different." When you stood beside Ailira, the palace guards followed again. The citizens cheered. It wasn't because you killed enemies. It was because you gave them a reason to hope again. Elias stopped walking. "But they barely know me." "Sometimes knowing the heart is enough," she said. Just then, a small communication crystal lit up on her wrist. She touched it, and Ailira's voice came through. "Nalea, the southern city has cut communication. I need Elias with me now." Nalea nodded. "We'll come." The royal air cruiser sped through the sky. Ailira, dressed in light battle armor again, sat beside Elias with a map stretched out before them. "The southern city controls most of the food and medical resources," she said. "If they're under siege or worse, they'll try to hold it hostage," Elias guessed. Ailira nodded. "That would collapse everything we've rebuilt so far." They landed on the outer walls of the city. The gates weren't broken, but they weren't open either. The streets were empty. Not a single civilian moved. The three of them entered carefully, flanked by a few loyal guards. Inside, the city's center looked strange. Colorful flags hung from buildings. Flowers were scattered on the streets. It didn't look like a war. Zone. Suddenly, voices shouted from rooftops above, "Long live Queen Ailira." People appeared, clapping, cheering, dropping crystal petals from balconies. Elias looked confused. "This is A celebration? One of the local leaders ran forward and bowed. We heard the traitors were defeated. The palace survived. We waited for your signal, but when none came, we feared the worst. Ialira was stunned. You cut off communication. To protect the crystal network, he explained. We blocked all signals until we were sure the betrayal didn't spread. Elias slowly smiled. They weren't under attack. They were protecting you. Nalea looked around, visibly relieved. The people still believe in the crown. That night, in the city's main plaza, a feast was prepared. Children danced. Elders sang. Elias watched from a distance as Ialira addressed the crowd. She spoke not just as a queen, but as one of them. Nalea joined him again, holding 2 cups of glowing nectar. She's happier now, Nalea said, because the people still stand with her. No, Nalea said, handing him the cup. Because you're standing with her. He took a sip. The drink tasted like sunlight. She stepped closer, her voice gentle. You may think you're still choosing between 2 sisters, but I think the truth is, you were never just here for Ialira. Elias looked at her, this time truly seeing her, not just the princess, not just the warrior, but the woman who had quietly fought beside her sister, hoping someone would notice. I came here to help, Elias said. Nalea smiled. You did. And you're still helping. Even if you don't realize what you've already changed. They stood there, under the twin moons once again. He hadn't given his answer yet. But his presence was already shaping the future, and deep inside, Elias knew he was being pulled into something far bigger than a marriage. He was being written into the destiny of an entire world. Asterisk. The celebration ended with stars filling the sky. Elias stayed up on the rooftop of a guest tower in the southern city, looking out at the peaceful lights below. Lurian children were still laughing somewhere, chasing glowing insects near the gardens. It felt unreal. A few days ago, he was just a human pilot on a solo mission. Now he had fought to defend a queen, gained the loyalty of an alien people, and been asked to marry not 1, but 2 royal sisters. Elias wasn't running, but he still didn't know how to move forward. Ialira arrived quietly behind him. Her footsteps were silent, but he sensed her presence. I thought I'd find you here, she said, wearing a royal robe with silver patterns that reflected the moonlight. Elias gave a small smile. You always seem to know where I'll be. I've had years to imagine what kind of man you would become, she replied softly. He turned to face her. You remember me from all the way back then. I never forgot you, she said. When I was a child, I was trapped during a rebel attack in the old mines. A human ship passed above. Only one came down to help. You didn't ask for thanks. You just left after saving me. Elias rubbed the back of his neck. That was a long time ago. You think small actions don't matter, she said. But you've shaped my entire life. And now our people's future may rest on another choice you make. Elias paused. You really want me to marry both of you? Ialira nodded slowly. This is not about romance alone. Our union would bring peace between the divided noble houses. Nalea and I together, we represent both bloodlines. But only with a new figure, someone outside Lurian politics, can we create unity. And the people already look to you. Elias looked down at the garden below. I'm not used to being important, he said. I fix ships, not kingdoms. She smiled. Then maybe that's why you're exactly the one we need. Before he could respond, the rooftop door swung open. A young guard rushed out, panting. Your Majesties. There's a ship approaching fast, unidentified signature, no communication. Ialira's expression changed instantly. Dominion? We don't know, but it's not one of ours. Elias. And Ialira followed the guard down to the command room. Nalea was already there, reading the data. A hologram of the ship glowed red above the center table. It's huge, she said. Not Dominion tech, something else. As the strange ship entered the atmosphere, it broadcast one short message: "Return what belongs to us, or burn." Number. One in the room spoke. Ialira finally said, "They're not after our land. They're after Elias." Elias's eyes widened. "Me?" Nalia nodded. "The rebels must have told them about your bond with the queen. If you marry into the royal line, they lose their power. If they remove you, they can still take control of the throne." A second message arrived, this one directed only to Elias. "Human. We offered peace once. You chose a side. Now you'll watch it fall." Elias clenched his jaw. "So they want me to run." Ialira stepped closer. "But we won't let them touch you." Nalia walked forward and placed a small crystal in Elias's palm. "This is an anchor crystal. As long as you carry it, the palace shields will recognize you as part of the royal family." Elias looked up. "But I'm not part of the royal family." "Not yet," she said quietly. Suddenly, a tremor shook the palace floor. The enemy ship had landed. Alarms blared across the city. Fighters launched into the sky. Defensive turrets lit up. Elias looked at the two sisters, Ialira in command. Nalia calm but ready. "I never asked for this," he said. Ialira nodded. "Neither did we, but we won't let them take our future." He took a deep breath and held the crystal tightly. "Then let's show them what happens when you threaten the queen and her sister." The three of them walked out into the war once more, this time not just to defend a city, but to protect a choice that could change everything. And deep inside, Elias felt something new. He wasn't just reacting anymore. He was ready to fight for this world. The city shook again as the enemy ship landed, just outside the southern walls. Elias ran beside the royal sisters as guards cleared their path toward the command tower. Civilians were being led into underground shelters. Lyrian fighters launched into the sky, creating a glowing net of defense around the capital. Even in chaos, the people followed their queen without hesitation. Elias had been in battles before. He had faced pirates, bounty hunters, and Dominion soldiers. But this was different. He wasn't just fighting to survive. He was fighting for them. Ialira stood at the center of the strategy table. The red silhouette of the enemy ship hovered over the city map. "No known design," said one of the techs. "But it's big, over 4 times the size of our royal cruiser. Weapons unknown." "Why no communication?" Elias asked. "They don't want to talk," Nalia replied. "They came to take." Ialira turned to Elias. "They want you removed. Not killed immediately, just taken from us. If they capture you, they'll say the alliance is broken and the throne loses its honor." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't let them touch me." Nalia pressed her hand to a crystal panel. "We'll set a trap. If they want you, we'll make you the bait." He raised an eyebrow. "That's comforting. You've walked into danger before." Ialira reminded him with a small smile. "Do it once more." Minutes later, Elias stood in the middle of the southern courtyard, completely exposed. Just a few hours ago, this area had been a peaceful garden. Now it was empty, silent, and full of hidden soldiers. He wore the anchor crystal around his neck. It glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. From the enemy ship, a dark figure emerged. He was tall and armored in black metal, with glowing orange lines running across his chest and arms. His face was covered by a visor, his voice cold and inhuman. "So, the human pet finally stands on royal ground." Elias didn't blink. "You want something?" The figure took a step forward. "You, alive, that's all we need. Remove the outsider and the crown falls." Ialira's voice echoed from hidden speakers around the courtyard. "You underestimate our people. Our power does not come from bloodlines alone." The enemy soldier raised his weapon. "Then we'll see what breaks first, your faith or his bones." Elias stepped forward. "You're going to regret threatening me." Suddenly, Crystal spikes erupted from the ground beneath the enemy's feet, Nalea's signal. Energy blasts flew from the rooftops. Ialira led her soldiers in a full-force ambush. The trap worked, but the enemy didn't fall easily. More soldiers poured from the dark ship, strange creatures in black armor, not Lurian, not human. They moved fast, almost like shadows. Elias fired his pistol until the barrel smoked. One of the attackers rushed him, but a crystal shield formed in front of him just in time. Ialira's doing. She was close now, throwing spears of light and force from her hands, fighting like a true queen. Nalea appeared on his right, her blade slicing through the air. She moved like water, graceful and deadly. One moment she was cutting down attackers. The next she was guarding Elias's back. "Don't lose the crystal," she shouted. Elias nodded, holding the necklace tightly as the battlefield swirled around them. Suddenly, a massive shockwave knocked everyone back. The enemy leader had activated something. The ground split, revealing a hidden mechanism beneath the courtyard. An ancient energy siphon. It began pulling the crystal power from the palace itself. Ialira's eyes widened. "They're draining the core." "If they steal the energy veins," Nalea gasped, "they can control the entire planet." Elias jumped forward. "We have to shut it down." He ran toward the central console as the siphon's arms reached deeper into the earth. Flames and sparks danced through the air. Every second, the sky darkened more. Ialira followed, placing her hands on the glowing locks. "I'll buy you time." Elias pulled open the panel. He recognized enough of the tech to guess where the power line was. His hands flew over the controls, rerouting flows and forcing an overload. The machine screamed. The enemy leader charged toward him faster than Elias expected. But before he reached Elias, Nalea appeared out of the smoke, blade flashing. She struck fast. The enemy stumbled, but not enough. The enemy slashed at Nalea. She blocked it, but was thrown back against the crystal wall. Elias grabbed a power rod and jammed it into the control core. The siphon exploded in a burst of blue fire. Everything went white. When the light faded, silence followed. The enemy ship, now crippled, began retreating. Its surviving forces fled, scattering across the sky. The Lurian soldiers cheered, raising their weapons. Elias lay on the ground, dazed but alive. Ialira helped him sit up, her arms around his shoulders. "You did it," she whispered. He looked around. "Where's Nalea?" Ialira's face froze. Elias stood, heart racing. Smoke drifted from the far side of the courtyard, there half buried. Under fallen crystal was Nalia.unmoving. He rushed toward her, yelling her name. And for the first time since he had arrived on this world, Elias felt real fear. Elias dropped to his knees beside Nalea, his hands shaking as he pushed away the sharp shards of broken crystal. Her robe was torn. Her blade lay beside her, and her eyes were closed. "Nalea, Nalea, can you hear me?" Elias said, his voice cracking. She didn't respond. Ialira knelt across from him, her face pale and full of pain. "She's breathing. Barely." Guards rushed in, but Ialira raised her hand. "No, only the inner chamber can help her now." Elias lifted Nalea into his arms. She was light, too light. Her skin felt cold, like the crystal fields before dawn. Her head rested against his shoulder, unmoving. "Where do I take her?" he asked, eyes fixed on Ialira. "The crystal heart," she said quickly. "It's the only place where life energy can be restored. But it hasn't been used in generations. Then it's time someone uses it again." They raced through the inner palace on a smaller glider craft, traveling through the hidden crystal tunnels beneath the city. Only the royal family had access to the path Elias now flew. Ialira rode beside him, giving directions. The crystal heart was built by the ancients. It pulls life energy from the planet. But it comes at a cost. It drains from whoever makes the request. Elias tightened his grip on Nalea's hand. I don't care. If it can save her, I'll give what it takes. They arrived at a glowing chamber deep within the mountain. The walls pulsed softly with ancient light. In the center stood a pedestal, made of woven crystal vines. Glowing blue and gold. Elias laid Nalea gently into it. The moment her body touched the surface, the crystals lit up like a sunrise. The chamber began to hum. A soft voice echoed through the room, not from a speaker, but from the crystals themselves. One life can be saved. One price must be paid. Who speaks? Elias stepped forward. I do, the voice responded. You are not of this world. I don't care. She is. That's enough. Ialira grabbed his arm. If you do this, you may not survive. He looked at her, eyes steady. Then she live. That's all I want. He placed both hands on the edge of the pedestal. Energy rushed through his body, heat, light, sound. It felt like his veins were being replaced by starlight. His heart pounded so loudly it echoed in his ears. Visions flashed through his mind. Nalea as a child, training beside her sister. The first time she saw him. The way she watched from a distance when he wasn't looking. She had never asked for attention. She had only wanted to protect the people she loved. Now it was his turn. The energy grew hotter. Elias felt his knees buckle. Ialira caught him. You don't have to give everything. He whispered through gritted teeth. She deserves everything. Then, suddenly the light turned soft. The pedestal slowed. Nalea's chest rose once. Then again, her eyes fluttered open. Elias? She whispered. He smiled weakly. Hey, you're late for the next fight. But then his body swayed. His knees hit the crystal floor. Ialira caught him as he collapsed. No, stay with me, she cried. Nalea struggled to rise, her strength returning faster than expected. What happened? He gave too much, Ialira said, holding Elias. He didn't think of himself. The crystals glowed again, and the voice returned. This. One gave without asking. For this, the world answers. He shall not die, but he shall change. A wave of soft blue energy flowed into Elias's chest. His heartbeat steadied. His breathing returned. But something in his eyes had shifted. Ialira leaned closer. You're alive, but you're different. He sat up slowly. I feel like the planet knows me now, like I belong to it. Nalea placed her hand on his. Then maybe you're more one of us than you ever knew. He looked between the two sisters, one still holding his hand, the other wiping away tears she didn't let anyone else see. You both gave me reasons to stay, he said softly. But now I know, I'm not here to choose one of you. I'm here to stand beside both. Ialira's voice broke. We almost lost you. He smiled gently. You didn't. I just found myself. They returned to the city to cheers out the people. Heard of Elias's sacrifice. Of how he entered the sacred chamber and survived. Of how Princess Nalea rose again from the brink of death. They didn't see Elias as a foreigner anymore. They saw him as chosen, not just by the queens, but by the world itself. Later that night, Ialira stood beside Nalea on the royal balcony. Looking over the crowd below. Elias stepped out to join them. And for the first time since the war began, there was no fear in anyone's eyes, just hope. But deep in the stars, something darker stirred. The enemy had failed once. They would not stay silent for long. The twin suns of Zephyr rose gently over the capital city. Morning light poured through the crystal towers, casting golden beams across the royal palace. It was a peaceful day, the first one in many weeks. Elias stood at the edge of the grand balcony, watching the people below prepare for the royal bonding ceremony. Colorful banners waved in the wind. Music echoed softly across the courtyards. The war was over. The traitors were gone. And the people had accepted something no one ever expected, a human at the center of their royal bloodline. Behind him, Ialira stepped into the morning light, dressed in a flowing white and gold gown. Her crown was simple today, but her presence still felt powerful. Nalea followed, wearing silver with soft blue embroidery and a gentle smile that calmed the air around her. Elias turned to them. "Are you both really sure about this?" Ailira raised an eyebrow. "Are you trying to escape at the last moment?" Nalea chuckled. "You've survived 2 wars, Elias. You can survive marrying us." He laughed softly, but the weight in his chest was real. "This isn't normal. Not for humans. I've never even." "You've already proven your heart," Ailira said gently. "This ceremony is not about tradition. It's about unity. Our world needs something new," Nalea added. "Something honest, and you are that." He looked at both sisters. They weren't just leaders. They were survivors, warriors, and now in their own way. They were offering him a life. "I don't know what kind of husband I'll be," Elias admitted. "But I'll never stop protecting you." "That's all we need," Ailira said. The grand hall filled quickly. Representatives from across the galaxy had come, some curious, some unsure, and others jealous. The idea of a human marrying 2 alien princesses wasn't just unusual, it was powerful. Dangerous to some, hopeful to others. That the ceremony began with the crystal oath. Elias stood between the sisters as they placed their hands over a sacred crystal. It glowed bright blue, reading their energy, binding their intentions. "This bond," the crystal voice sighed, "is not of blood, nor rule, nor law. It is of choice, of trust, of future." One by one, Ailira and Nalea spoke their vows, not stiff royal words, but true ones. "I will share my throne and my strength with you, Elias," Ailira sighed, her voice steady. "And I will never let you stand alone. I will share my soul and my dreams with you," Nalea said, her voice soft but clear. "And I will walk beside you no matter the stars we face." Elias looked into both of their eyes. "I'm just a man," he said. "But if I can carry even part of what you carry, I will. Not for power, not for the throne, but because you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." The crystal pulsed once, then faded. The hall burst into light and cheers. The union was complete. Later that evening, after the guests had left and the stars had taken the sky, Elias stood with Ailira and Nalea on the palace rooftop. For once, there was no crisis. No alarms, no threat, just quiet. Ailira leaned against him, her eyes watching the night sky. "You brought peace in a way no army could," Nalea smiled. "And somehow, you did it without becoming someone else." Elias looked out into the stars. "There's still danger out there. The ones who sent that enemy ship, they won't stop. They'll try," Ailira said. "But next time, we'll face them together. And they'll know we're stronger now," Nalea added. Elias reached for both of their hands. He didn't feel like a stranger anymore. He didn't feel lost. This alien world, once strange and distant, now felt like home, because home wasn't Earth. Home was where he was trusted, where he was chosen, where love didn't follow rules. It broke them to build something stronger. As the stars sparkled above and the crystal fields shimmered below, Elias finally smiled with peace in his heart. He came as a visitor. He stayed as a protector, and now he was family. Forever.